Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here, once again with another video on The Flash Season 4. So just one quick thing before we continue on with the rest of the video. As some of you might know, I am actually going overseas in just over a week from now. And in that time, obviously, I will be making videos while I'm overseas. But obviously I'm going to be occupied doing stuff over there. But some of the things I'm going to be doing to fill up some video space is Q&A videos like I did in the break. So I will be doing the same thing in the break for this season, like over the mid-season break. So do leave any questions in the comments section down below regarding any of the Arrowverse shows like Supergirl, Flash, Legends, or Arrow. Just leave any questions regarding those shows in the comments section down below, and they could make one of those videos over the break in the in the next couple of weeks. So the Flash has changed up how it usually does things this season by diving like headfirst into the big bad for the season straight from the first episode, and get us somewhat interested in what he is doing and planning. Obviously, in the case of this season of The Flash, we have the Thinker, or Clifford Devoe, being the one to give Team Flash and Barry Allen quite the headache. Since episode 1, we hung out with the Thinker for a bit every episode as we learn of his connections to various things happening around both Central City and Team Flash. But it was right at the end of episode 6 and all of episode 7, which was the most recent episode, essentially, that we properly met Clifford Devoe and discovered what happened to him in the past and what led him down the path to becoming the ailing mastermind known as the Thinker. Specifically in episode 7, we went through Clifford's past few years and what he was doing at that time and what he was struggling with, as well as what he wanted to achieve for not only himself, but for others as well. In the rest of this video, we will be going over what the Thinker's plan was and will be going forward, as well as how the Flash, or Barry Allen, plays into that all. So we first met Clifford Devoe, timeline-wise, around 4 years ago, and you find out he loves knowledge but also teaching, but isn't the biggest fan of the fact that little to none of his students actually respect him or pay attention to him when he is teaching. Due to this, Devoe worked on this device known as the thinking cap, and with the help of his wife, who is the mechanic from the comics, they planned on making it a reality to bring forth the Age of Enlightenment. And we will come back to that Age of Enlightenment later on in the video. Now fast forward a bit to the night of the Star Labs particle accelerator incident back in season 1 of The Flash. This is where we see Devoe activate his thinking cap along with being hit by the wave of dark matter. So the Thinker is a metahuman, but he has the ability to alter his DNA in order to give off the impression or the mask that he is just a regular person, a good old regular dude. He's not some metahuman to be scared of. Though the thinking cap did work in regards to making his intelligence expand, it had quite the negative side effect with the rest of his body. Apart from his mind beginning to degenerate, which in turn paralyzed him in certain areas and caused seizures and pain at various points in time. This was due to his body trying to maintain his newly found expanded intellect and not giving the rest of his body the energy it requires. This leads to his wife hooking him up to a chair that plugs directly into Devoe's brain via some scalping, which doesn't stop the degeneration of his body, it just sort of slows it down. And this is where I think most of us are on board when it comes to Barry or the Flash's involvement and why so much of what the Thinker is doing revolves around him. We will go over 2 theories around what Devoe would, use Barry for, and then we will go over what he could be planning to do after that if he achieves the first step with Barry. Now, full transparency here, I didn't come up with these 2 theories. That credit actually goes to A. Tamzarian on Reddit. Now, that's actually a funny name because that's actually Principal Skinner's real name. Is it Armin Tamzarian? One of the two. I will leave his original post from Reddit linked in the description below, so go check that out and yeah, just read his full post and some of the other posts he has on Reddit as well, because this is his thinking, if you want to call it that. But the first of these theories around Devoe taking advantage of Barry, and no, not in that way, is for Devoe to harness Barry's power set and use it in order to regenerate the parts of his body that are affected, which is essentially all of it apart from his mind or brain, as we talked about earlier. This won't just allow him to move functionally again and be able to walk and stuff like that, but it will prevent him from dying. This theory is pretty decent and does make sense, as we know speedsters do have that accelerated healing factor, which would, over a decently length period of time, heal Devoe fully. And then if he was to keep using his mind, even if it did take some energy away from his legs or something like that, the regenerative healing of the Flash's powers would heal him once again. The only issue with this, which is also actually stated on the Reddit post by the user A. Tamzarian, is that this whole plan sounds somewhat similar to Zoom's plan from season 2, help, my body is dying, I did something that's ruining it, help me with your speed. It's essentially pretty much the same storyline or the same plan by the villain. The second theory from our good old mate A. Tamzarian on Reddit revolves around Devoe. Instead of just taking, or at least harnessing, Barry's powers and using them to cure him, Devoe would instead actually place his consciousness within Barry's body, which would in turn give him a youthful speedster body with those regeneration powers, which he would have gotten if he just, used Barry's powers on himself. I know that theory sounds sort of crazy, but if Devoe saw this as like a viable option and something that he could make a reality, then he would 110% go for it. And just really imagine that, like a speedster as powerful as Barry with a mind as powerful as Devoe's, that like definitely spells trouble. Now, as we know, like Devoe needs a reason for Barry, so I think something along the lines of these two theories will come true maybe not right at the end of the season, but at some point in the back half. Like it will be revealed like that is what Devoe needs from Barry. It's something to do with his power set, because that's why Devoe needed Barry to come out of the Speed Force for a couple of reasons, but we do know in the next couple of episodes that Devoe is actually going to, kidnap Barry. I'm pretty sure it's the mid-season finale that's meant to happen, so we might find out then what Devoe's really going for. But then we come to the whole big issue of the Bus Metahuman, so that big bus that got hit by the dark matter, and we had some metahumans created, which Devoe has been keeping tabs on and, collecting, if you want to call it that. Now, I think maybe not right at the end of the season, but with a couple of episodes to go, we will see these bus metas reappear and be used by Devoe to subdue Barry in some way, whether it be individually, so they're going to go up against Barry again and sort of lead him to Devoe, or they could basically form a Bus Metahuman army. So we do know that Ralph was on there, so I wonder if Ralph's going to betray Team Flash. I don't think he will. So without Ralph, the rest of the Bus Metahumans will like either team up or individually go, but I think teaming up would be the smart option. I think Devoe would think, okay, let's team up to get Barry because it makes sense. And not necessarily take Barry down, but try and lead him to Devoe. Now, this could be the chance for like a Flash family team up again. Like last year we did see Savitar, when Savitar, like in the finale, we did see like Jay Garrick and Wally come and help Barry. So we could see something like that towards the end of the season, because there really has been no other speedsters this season. So that could be like the one opportunity to bring them all in just for that one episode. Or they could make it that Barry actually does get captured by these Bus Metahumans. Now, there is the whole issue of the cerebral inhibitor, which was introduced towards the end of last season when they were referencing Devoe, or at least Savitar Barry referenced Devoe, and they also used like the cerebral inhibitor on Barry, essentially. I think that was the same thing they used on Barry to sort of clear his memories so they could, stop Savitar knowing what was going to happen. Now, they could actually use this to defeat Devoe. Like, they could use this on his brain to stop his mind taking energy from his body and then possibly allow his body to heal and maybe return Devoe's mind to what it was before he used the thinking cap. So that's what they could do. They could defeat the villain by just removing his powers, essentially, and returning him to normal. And maybe just returning him to normal life, because the police don't know about him and stuff like that and don't know that he was doing this illegal stuff. They could just return him to his normal life, and maybe Devoe might not remember it all, but that might be a bit weird. They might want to actually lock up the villain. But essentially the big thing about the cerebral inhibitor is that it would stop his degeneration, which would stop him from dying. Now, if this doesn't happen, if they can't stop the degeneration, this is actually suggested by A. Tamzarian again on his Reddit post. They could make it that Devoe dies, but he has set everything up leading up to his death. That's a possibility. Obviously, it's a possibility that he could die. His plan might not work, so there is a possibility that he could die. He could have made it and set everything up for Barry to be charged and arrested for his murder. Make it look like Barry was responsible for his death. And really, they sort of did set that up in episode 7. Like, Barry was harassing and stalking the Devoe household. He broke in. There was security footage of that. Barry's now like on forced leave from the Central City Police Department for 2 weeks. So there is like evidence there that Barry was already like harassing that family. So this would not surprise me if they did that, and this could lead to Barry going to jail. And at the end of season 1, when Barry was going through time, we did see Barry in jail. He was in like the talking room, or the talking room, if you want to call that, where you'd hang out with your family members when they come to visit you in prison. We saw that. Now, obviously, Barry might not intentionally kill Devoe, but Barry could be charged for this, and that could be like the cliffhanger for this season. And we pick up next season, and Barry's in jail, and that's the start of it. We have like a trial of the Flash, like mini storyline to begin the season, so they could do that. But obviously, that's just a possibility. That's like not a certainty, but it's definitely a cool theory to think about, and it makes sense if they went down that line. Now, earlier on in the video, I did mention the Age of Enlightenment, which is something that Devoe was talking about when it came to the thinking cap and like expanding his intellect. Now, I think this is something that he is already doing, and I think it's something that he would want to do in the future once he had healed himself and he was able to actually, properly walk around, like he wasn't, slowly ailing and slowly dying. Now, you do actually get a hint of this actually working, because obviously at the beginning, when we saw Devoe 4 years ago, no one was paying attention to him in class. Everyone was on their phones, playing apps, watching cat videos on YouTube. No one was paying attention. But when Barry goes to visit Devoe's class in present day, everyone is focused on Devoe. No one is on their phone. No one's mucking around. Everyone's eyes and ears are on Devoe. So it's a very subtle hint that the Age of Enlightenment may have already begun when it comes to Devoe's plans. So they might focus on that in the episodes to come, but we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But I think the Thinker, or Devoe's plan in regards to the Age of Enlightenment, had already begun, and he's probably wanting to expand on that, and that's maybe why he wants to get, healed up from Barry as fast as possible. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'll be awesome if you could drop a like on the video to show your support. As I said, let me know in the comment section down below any questions you want to, me to answer in that Q&A videos, or those Q&A videos over the next couple of weeks while I'm away, and just leave your general opinions on this theory and these different things in the comment section down below. Be sure to go check out that Reddit post where those 2 initial theories came from. That will be linked in the description as well. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.